the intro. Hey guys, welcome to another installment of Table Talks. My name's Cameron.
I'm Ryan.
And today we're going to be discussing our top 10 personal favorite movies or movie series.
Starting off at number 1 is going to be Cameron.
My number 1, I chose Beauty and the Beast, the animated film. I don't know. I just really like it. It's a big nostalgic part of my childhood. Some of my fondest memories are with that movie.
Number 2, going to go ahead and jump over to me. The series The Chronicles of Riddick with Vin Diesel. Now, the synopsis of just the first one, the third one, it is following the wanted criminal Riddick. He arrives on a planet called Helion Prime and finds himself up against an invading empire called the Necromongers, an army that plans to kill or convert the entire human race. That is actually the second one. Had 3 shots and I missed them all.
Good job.
But no, The Chronicles of Riddick is actually a fantastic series if you're into sci-fi, adventure, and action movies. And Vin Diesel, I'm not sure if it was this movie himself, but he, at least after this, became a huge geek. Like, he even got a bunch of other celebrities to start playing their own Dungeons and Dragons campaign.
Oh, yeah.
Vin Diesel is just a super cool dude, and I have another movie with him in my list. But until then, we're going to go ahead and jump over to Cameron.
All right. So next, number 3, I chose the Pirates of the Caribbean series. It's pretty self-explanatory. They're pirates in the Caribbean, getting into some shenanigans. It's a good movie if you like pirates and the Caribbean.
Now, personal question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you prefer the Caribbean or the Caribbean?
I prefer both, depending on the scenario.
Okay, that's understandable. For me, I love my B movies. I wouldn't say I'm an exactly cinemaphile, but I do love my B movies because they're super cheesy, they're fun, they're dumb, but some B movies just go over the top. Like this one movie, AM 1200. This movie, haunted by recent events On the Run, a man finds himself unwitting pawn of a possessed evangelical radio station, and like his unfortunate predecessor, must ask himself whether it is better to reign in hell than to serve in heaven. Now, this movie, it's really good, especially for a B movie, because there's a lot of questions that are unanswered. Now, a lot of people don't like those, but I like those because it really makes you think. It's not just a movie that you can sit down and enjoy, some dumb feel-good movie. This sort of has a dark, eldritch twist on it. And I think that's really interesting because it incorporates just a lot of things, and there's a lot of unanswered questions that just... It's still in my head, even after I watched it for a year ago. Right, how about you? Number 4.
Number 5, right? No, number
1, 2, 3.
Number 5.
Next.
The next one. I chose the Harry Potter series. If I have to explain Harry Potter, then that's a problem. It's just a beloved series by a lot of people, and it's a pretty big part of my childhood. The books and the movies. Even though I've only read one.
All right. For my next favorite movie, I'd have to go. It's a classic. Might be a little cliche, but Airplane. It's a very comical movie, and this is really special to me. Not just because it's so funny, but because movies are the way that my dad and I used to bond a lot. He'd be watching a movie out in the living room, and I'd just go and watch it with him, and he'd be talking about it. I'd be talking about it, and it would be really nice because we got to really connect on something like that. In Airplane, every time that he watches it, he's watched this movie probably 23 times, but every time that he watches it, he finds something new that he didn't quite catch in his last movie, in his last watch. But it's just so funny, and it's a very simple concept. A man afraid to fly must ensure that a plane lands safely after the pilot becomes sick. Simple, easy, straight to the point, just full of comedy.
Absolutely.
Jumping over to you.
All right, so the next one that I chose was Into the Woods. This came out just a couple of years ago. It's a movie adaptation of a musical, and it involves a lot of, the classic fairy tale characters, Cinderella and Jack and the Beanstalk and all of that, and they just kind of just a really well made movie. I never used to be a big fan of musicals, but that's kind of what got me started on them. Now I love them, so highly recommend it if you've never seen it.
All right, I'll have to check that out. Now, next on my list sits close in our hearts, and this is one of the other Vin Diesel films on my list, but The Iron Giant. Now, a lot of people don't know that Vin Diesel is...
Excuse me.
A lot of people don't know that Vin Diesel is actually the voice of the Iron Giant. And I think that's really cool because that shows, again, that he likes doing a lot of things and he can be in any movie. And the synopsis of this is a young boy befriends a giant robot from outer space that the paranoid government agent wants to destroy. Now, this is so close to me because it's just one of my childhood films, one of the films that really shaped who I am today. It just will always have a place in my heart, and I will always love this movie, and I'm never afraid to watch it again.
Nice. So, for my final one, I chose... Going a little bit away from the nostalgic feel-good movies, I went and I delved into a little bit of the horror genre. I chose the Silent Hill series. I was always a big fan of the games, you know. Nothing beats a good Silent Hill game. It's the pinnacle of survival horror. And I feel like the first movie, at least, it went well with the games, you know. It did it some justice. The second movie was a little iffy, but still a great movie. They're two of my favorite movies of all time, and I love, kind of like with Airplane and your dad, you know, every time I watch them, I find something else new, some little detail, and some extra stuff that I didn't know before.
It's good to hear.
Yeah.
All right. Now, final movie on my list, jumping back to the B movies, the absolute top B movie on a lot of people's lists would have to be Master of the Flying Guillotine. Now, this is the cheesiest, most action-packed B movie about kung fu that you can imagine. Now, you see all those old Godzilla films where people are talking and their lips don't sync up. This one has that, and it has so much more. All the scenes are so cheesy. It is just wonderful. Now, this movie says, after his students are killed by the one-armed boxer, a vengeful and blind kung fu expert travels to a village where a martial arts contest is being held, and he vows to behead every one-armed man that he comes across. Every one-armed man that he comes across. Now, he's blind, kung fu, and behead them. You're thinking, how's this blind old man going to behead them? Well, with his hat. His hat, he takes it off and he throws it, then he sort of, excuse you, then he throws it and it catches over other people's heads, then blades come out of his hat and beheads them all.
So it's like slightly different Raiden.
Sort of.
Nice.
He probably got a lot of ideas from his character from this movie because it was made in 1976. And this movie is just so funny, it's just so good. Now, you're wondering, this sounds kind of familiar, maybe. You might be thinking of the Mythbusters episode they actually did to see if they could create a hat that could behead people. Now,
I do remember that.
Unfortunately, probably fortunately, they couldn't, unless if it was, like, powered by enough force, but you can't really do that unless if you have extensive martial arts knowledge.
So, is this movie genuinely good, or is it one of the movies that's so bad it's good?
It's so bad it's good.
Good.
This is sort of the one, this is the movie that B movies want to be. They want to be as bad as this, so they're as good as this.
Makes sense.
Alright, that was our personal top 10 list. 5 of each together makes 10. Now, you can go ahead and leave in the comments below your top 10 movies, or at least one of your favorite movies, and if you liked some of the videos on this list, be sure to check it out.
Yeah.
Go ahead and leave a comment, like, subscribe, and tune in for more.
And let us know if you actually watch any of the movies that were on our list and what you think about them.